one of only 3 winless teams in the NFL through the season's first 6 weeks. The Bucs' schedule has not been too kind the last couple of Sundays. They were matched against the only undefeated teams in pro football, the Chicago Bears and the Los Angeles Rams. The Bucs led in both games in the second half, but quarterback Steve DeBerg and his teammates could not hold on to the advantage. The opponent today is the Miami Dolphins, one of the league's toughest and most explosive offensive teams. Quarterback Dan Marino is not having the kind of season he had a year ago, but number 13 is still considered by many to be the best there is at his position in the game today. Marino's gun can put a charge into Miami's offense at any time, particularly against the Bucs defense that has surrendered 30 or more points in every game but one. Miami coach Don Shula can't wait to get this one started. The Dolphins were losers in their previous game for only the second time this year. And you just know that the intensity rages fiercely inside the Dolphins' head man. This game appears to be one of the season's biggest mismatches. A team many expect to contend for a return trip to the Super Bowl with the Cadillac of quarterbacks and the Rolls-Royce of coaches, against a team struggling to win its first game of the year under its new head coach. But a mismatch this would not be. Instead, it would produce one of the most thrilling games of the 1985 season. For bragging rights in the state of Florida, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Miami Dolphins on the NFL Game of the Week. It came as no surprise to anyone in the Orange Bowl when Bucs running back James Wilder began the game carrying the football. In fact, Wilder ran 8 consecutive times on Tampa's first 2 offensive possessions, but number 32 didn't get very far. Wilder's workhorse load produced only 1 first down as the Dolphins' defense, normally vulnerable to the running game, rose up to meet the challenge. While the Miami defense was shutting down Wilder, the offense was methodically marching down the field, sustaining 2 drives that both ended in Dan Marino touchdown passes. First came with only 4 minutes gone in the opening quarter. A 16-yard strike to a wide-open Nat Moore, number 89. Moore, in his 11th season with the Dolphins, had become the team's 3rd wide receiver with the rapid development of the marks of distinction, Clayton and Duper. But with an injury to Duper, the crafty Moore returned as a starter, and his experience and know-how have paid big dividends in 1985. Moore's 3rd scoring reception of the season completed the first Miami touchdown drive. The second took 11 plays and resulted in the first touchdown of the year for all-purpose talent extraordinaire Jim Jensen, number 11. The first quarter had gone according to form. One of the league's best was routinely, efficiently, and thoroughly beating one of the league's worst. Nothing fancy, no surprises. As this mismatch progressed, however, things would change dramatically. Steve DeBerg needed to generate some offense in a hurry if the Bucs were to have any chance at all of winning this Battle of Florida. Trailing 14-0, it was time to expand the offense, continue using Wilder, one of the NFL's finest backs, but add the passing game to the offensive formula. The recipe worked to perfection. 2 DeBerg passes to tight end Jerry Bell, number 82, loosened up Miami's run-conscious defense and gave Wilder the room he needed. The NSC's leading rusher finished off an explosive 5-play, 80-yard drive by powering his way around the left side for the touchdown. The 10-yard burst halved Miami's advantage. Less than a minute into the second period, the Bucs now trailed 14-7. They had responded with a neatly conceived, brilliantly executed mix of passing and running. And it was only fitting that Wilder, who would end the day as the NFL's top ground gainer, scored the touchdown that got Tampa on the board. The Bucs offense had broken through. Now their defense had to turn it up a notch. Both of Miami's possessions had resulted in touchdowns. The Buc had to stop there. But Don Shula has a rookie running back whose overall skills as a runner and receiver may soon parallel those of James Wilder. First-round draft choice Lorenzo Hampton, number 27, was the main weapon in yet a third Miami scoring march, as he caught and ran for more than half of the Dolphins' total of 80 yards. Hampton's slashing power running is an element the Dolphins' offense has lacked in recent seasons. And this missing ingredient led to the drafting of Hampton and another running back, Ron Davenport. It was Davenport, number 30, who ended the Dolphins' 11-play drive with this 1-yard surge into the end zone. Miami had immediately retaliated to once again jump ahead by 2 touchdowns, 21-7. The Dolphins were doing it with a surprisingly balanced offensive attack. Marino's big gun was not the main event. On defense, the man who can TKO opponents with a quick strike is all-pro linebacker Hugh Green. Green, playing in only his second game with Miami since being traded away from, you guessed it, Tampa, made one of the game's few big defensive plays. A reminder to his old team that there are not too many linebackers around the caliber of Hugh Green. Green's interception set up a Dolphins field goal, and midway through the second quarter, Miami led 24-7 in what was turning into a rout. The Bucs had played this scene before in 1985, and it was not getting any easier to handle. There was little sign of life, and a 7th straight loss appeared to be just a matter of time. But the Bucs refused to quit. With 2 minutes left until halftime, DeBerg directed his offense on a drive that would produce a touchdown. The highlight was pinpoint passing by the Tampa quarterback into the teeth of the Dolphins' zone defense. With 17 ticks left on the clock, DeBerg hit a wide-open Jimmy Giles, number 88, for the score. And the Bucs, seemingly out of the game just a few short minutes earlier, had rebounded in a big way. This touchdown pass to Giles would set up a second half that would produce one big play after another. Take a second look at it, and remember the name Giles and the number 88. You will see him again rather frequently in the final 30 minutes. Before this one was over, the Bucs would give quite a scare to their interstate rivals from Miami. Dan Marino was champing at the bit to get things started as the third period began, and who could blame him? Miami had blitzed Tampa's beleaguered defense for 24 points already, and were greedy for more. As even the most casual fan knows, a passing down for the Dolphins usually occurs any time after the national anthem. And Dan didn't disappoint this time either. A 42-yard bomb to tight end Joe Rose was quickly followed by a sensational sideline snare from Mark Clayton as the Dolphins were airborne again. The catch was ruled complete, and then the Dolphins let their leading receiver pick up some yardage with his feet as running back Tony Nathan brought the ball to the Buccaneers' doorstep. Tony was ticked over not going all the way, but his disappointment was temporary. On the very next play, Nathan blasted in as the Dolphins were on the board again. Miami was turning the Battle of Florida into a runaway. The score now stood at 31-14, and the Bucs looked like their ship was sinking fast. But just when it seemed that the Bucs were headed for Davy Jones' locker, quarterback Steve DeBerg rattled his saber, rallying his band of Pirates with a flurry of pass completions. In the blink of an eye, the Bucs were into Dolphin territory. And then DeBerg found Jimmy Giles for his second touchdown reception of the game. The 39-yard hookup clicked because Giles, even at a burly 240 pounds, is still much faster than the Dolphin linebackers who were trying to cover him. Once Jimmy ran his post pattern beyond their reach, it was an easy jaunt into the end zone. Giles' touchdown had temporarily halted the Dolphin juggernaut, and much more would be heard from Tampa's tight end a bit later on. The score now stood at 31-21 Miami, but Marino was getting ready to crank up his aerial assault once again. On the next possession, Dan was flinging footballs all over the lot, with Joe Rose starting things off with yet another big catch over the middle. Then it was rookie runner Lorenzo Hampton, just as he had done in the first half, breaking off big gains on the ground to move the Dolphins close to another score. From inside the 5, Marino clicked on his third touchdown pass of the game. This one ticketed to number 84, tight end Bruce Hardy. The pattern of the game was continuing right on course. Just as the Bucs would get within tantalizing striking distance, the Dolphins would pull away with another score. The rollout by Marino to Hardy gave Miami a 17-point cushion in the battle for Sunshine State bragging rights. And as the third period ended, things looked very sunny indeed for Miami. But in the final 15 minutes, the Buccaneers would rain on Miami's parade, giving their Florida cousins a scare so harrowing that it would take all the Dolphins' might to save the day. If the Bucs were going to rally in this game, their defense would have to raise its voice in anger and stop the Dolphins when they had the ball. Or Miami would have to make a mistake of its own. That's just what happened, as the home team committed the first of two costly fourth-quarter turnovers. Defensive end John Cannon, number 78, recovered the loose ball, giving the Bucs excellent field position at the Miami 21. Then Steve DeBerg came out throwing right away, hooking up with wide receiver Gerald Carter, number 87. DeBerg then returned to a favorite motif of his on this day, seeking out and finding Jimmy Giles for yet another touchdown to trim the Miami lead to 10. Giles' amazing diving grab was successful because of his athletic ability, along with a nifty play-action fake by DeBerg. After a false handoff to James Wilder, the Buck quarterback had all the time he needed to find the red-hot Giles for the score. It was now 38-28 Miami, but time was beginning to become a factor. Tampa needed another big play from its defense, and they soon got it. This time it didn't stem from a Miami miscue, but rather a heads-up play by linebackers Cecil Johnson and cornerback Jeremiah Castile. Together, they collaborated on the Buccaneers' first and only pass interception of the game. Johnson's tip was grabbed by Castile, number 23, and the Bucs were once more in control deep in Dolphin territory. Then, in the 1985 NFL version of Can You Top This?, Jimmy Giles hauled in his fourth and, in many ways, his most remarkable touchdown catch of the game. Jimmy juggled, then barreled his way over all obstacles to complete the scoring play. Giles entered the game with a season total of only 14 catches and no touchdowns. Today alone, he garnered 7 catches for 116 yards and a quartet of scores. More important, the 9-year former All-Pro had brought his struggling team to within a field goal of the defending conference champions. It was now 38-35 Miami, and Tampa would soon be threatening again. With a little over 3 minutes to play, Steve DeBerg began the Bucs' final march, a drive that he hoped would end with a game-winning score. After scrambling for a first down, DeBerg fired 2 straight passes to Kevin House, completions that contributed to the 365 aerial yards for the Buccaneer passer. But Miami stiffened inside its 30, so Tampa place kicker Donald Igwebike stepped up and buried one from 38 yards. Only 43 seconds remained, and the Bucs had done it. Tied at 38, overtime seemed to be a lead pipe cinch. But all these heroics were about to be swept aside. Giles, DeBerg, Wilder, Igwebike, prominent names for 59 minutes, were about to be overshadowed by the biggest name of all, Dan Marino. In the final moments, Marino fired 3 clutch completions, 2 of them to Tony Nathan. And with 11 seconds left to play, kicker Fuad Ravez launched a 43-yard field goal that would climax one of the most exciting games of 1985. Miami had regained the lead at 41-38. But Tampa Bay was not dead yet. A Dolphin celebration was still premature. The Bucs had come off the floor so many times already that it seemed appropriate for DeBerg and company to fire one last salvo over the Dolphin broadside before surrendering. With 6 seconds to go, DeBerg heaved a 57-yard bomb that scared the wits out of the Dolphins and their fans. But unfortunately for the Bucs, time ran out, and with it a chance for victory. Miami had prevailed 41-38, and the greatest irony of all was that Tampa Bay had now played its 3rd straight courageous game against the league powerhouse, only to lose. And by day's end, the hard-luck Bucs remained the only NFL team without even a single victory to its name.